Head office sends goods to its branch at 25% less than list price. Goods are sold to customers at cost plus 60%. From the following particulars, ascertain the profit made by head office and by the branch. We have particulars: opening stock at cost in case of HO, whereas in case of branch it is at invoice price, okay, and that is 30,000. Then we have purchases, which is 1,50,000, goods sent to branch 1,08,000, sales at HO and branches are available, then expenses are available. So we basically have to ascertain what is the profit. Okay, for that we have to prepare the trading and P&L account of HO and branch. Let's do that. So let's get started. Let's see one by one. We have opening stock at cost. In HO it is 50,000, in case of branch it is 30,000, and it is at invoice price. Okay, so let's capture that in trading account first. It is to opening stock. To opening stock. In case of HO it is 50,000. In case of branch it is 30,000. Okay, so what we have to keep in mind is this opening stock of branch has a profit element, and that have to be removed by stock reserve by dealing in HO's P&L account on credit side. I'll explain that when we reach appropriate time. Okay. Then second item, we have purchases 1,50,000 applicable only for HO. So we'll say two purchases. It is 1,50,000. So two items completed. Then we have goods sent to branch. As far as HO is concerned, it's a credit item. Branch is concerned, it is a debit item. 1,08,000. Okay. So first we'll write from branch point of view. Okay. From branch point of view, it is basically a debit item. For HO, it is a credit item. So first we'll write two goods received from HO. Two goods received from head office. As far as the branch is concerned, what is the value? It is 1,08,000. So in branch column we'll write 1,08,000. Then as far as HO is concerned, buy goods sent to branch, so we'll write somewhere here itself, buy goods sent to branch. In the HO column we'll write 1,08,000. So that is done. Then we have sales, which is 1,60,000 and 80,000. So we'll write buy sales. HO it is 1,60,000 and branch it is 80,000. Then we have some expenses, okay, that will be booking in P&L. But before that, if you want to find out the profit, you should close your trading account. You should find out your gross profit. For finding gross profit, you should know what is your closing stock. Okay, so basically you should know what is your closing stock. Now just for some alignment purpose, let me transfer them over here. Yeah, it means now we have to find out what is closing stock. That is, we need what is the closing stock of head office, we need what is the closing stock of branch. So let's have a working note 1, where we'll find out closing stock of head office. So let's get started. What was the opening stock of head office? We need that information. Their opening stock is 50,000, right? So first we'll write they had opening stock, and that is equivalent to 50,000. Then they have made some purchases, right? What was your purchases? It is 1,50,000. So item B, add purchases. The value is 1,50,000. It means they had 2 lakh worth of stock. Now out of that, something has been sold and something has been sent to branch. Okay, so first let's capture what has been sold. By sales is 1,60,000, and if you read the question says goods are sold to customers at cost plus 60%. Okay, so this sales of 1,60,000 has a profit element of 60%. So how to understand that? So let me do, let me subtract cost of goods sold, and to understand that, let's have a small parallel calculation here. If cost is 100, then profit of 60% is added, so that will give selling price which is 160. Okay, now we have sales made by head office which is 1,60,000. That 1,60,000 is equivalent to 160. We are concerned about what is this profit, or we are concerned about what is the cost. We are more concerned about what is the cost of goods sold. Okay, so not this profit, we are more concerned about the cost of goods sold. So what we can do is we can take 1,60,000. Okay, and this 1,60,000 basically represents 160. So divided by 160, then multiply it with 100 to know what is the cost. Okay, so calculation is as simple as that. So 1,60,000 divided by 160 multiplied by 100 will give you the value, and it is 1 lakh. So this is the cost of goods sold. Then we also need to know what is the cost of goods sent to branch. So let us subtract that also, less cost of goods sent to branch. For that, once again, let's go back to the question. Question says, head office sends goods to its branch at 25% less than list price. That is, basically we should know what is the wholesale price, right? So what is the list price here? Here, from this understanding, we know list price is 160. So let me put it. That is, if I say list price is 160. Now from this list price, we have to subtract 25%. Less 25%. So 25% works out to say something like 40, right? So you get a price now which is 120. This is nothing but the wholesale price at which goods are sent to branch. Okay, so when goods are sent to branch, it is at wholesale price which is equivalent to 100, but we are more concerned about the cost which is 100. So what you should do? Take the goods sent to branch. What is the value of goods sent to branch? It is 1,08,000, right? It is basically 1,08,000. So take that 1,08,000 divided by 120, because that is the wholesale price, multiplied with 100 to know what is the cost of goods sent to branch. So 1,08,000 divided by 120 multiplied by 100, you get the value as 90,000. Okay, so subtract this. Now if you do all this, 2 lakh minus 1 lakh minus 90,000, you get a value, and that is basically 10,000. So this 10,000 is nothing but the value of closing stock at head office level. So let's go and write here by closing stock, it is 10,000, and basically we got these numbers from working note 1. Similarly, we should find out what is the closing stock at branch level. For that, we need working note 2. So let's have one more working note. Working note 2, that is value of closing stock at branch. And for that, you should know what is the goods that has been received at the branch. So first item is goods received from head office, but before that, branch had some opening stock also, right? They have an opening stock of 30,000. So we'll start with opening stock. Their opening stock is 30,000. Then there is goods received from HO. Goods received from head office, and it is 1,08,000. So total stock with them is 1,38,000, but they have sold something, and for them also the instruction is it should be sold at selling price which is 160. Okay, so from this we have to subtract cost of goods sold. Okay, not cost of goods sold, rather the cost of goods sold at invoice price, okay, or value of goods sold at invoice price. So less the invoice price here means basically the wholesale price. So let me make it more specific. Less wholesale price equivalent of goods sold. So what is the value of goods sold at branch level? We have it is 80,000. Okay. So this 80,000 has been sold at price of 160. We want to know what is its equivalent wholesale price. So what is the wholesale price? It is 120. So as simple as that, 80,000 divided by 160 multiplied by 120, you get a value, and that is 60,000. Okay. So now if I subtract this, I'm going to get some value, and it is 78,000. So this 78,000 is nothing but closing stock at branch. So let me go here. I'll write closing stock at branch is 78,000, and I have this figure from working note 2. Okay. Now let's do the totaling. The totaling is for branch, the higher side is on credit. Okay, so 80,000 plus 78,000, it works out to 1,58,000. And for HO, 1,60,000, 1,08,000 plus 10,000, it works out to 2,78,000. Okay, so let me write that both sides. 2,78,000 for HO, 1,58,000 for branch. It means on debit side there are going to be differences. If you take HO, the difference between 2,78,000 and these two items will be 78,000. And for branch, 1,58,000 minus these two items is going to be 20,000. And these are nothing but the gross profit. So we'll write to gross profit, it is 78,000 and 20,000. Now that should be transferred. Okay, so we'll say by gross profit, those figures are getting transferred over here, 78,000 and 20,000. Okay, now one thing we have to remember, that is the opening stock and the closing stock. Okay, both are at wholesale price. So if you want to know the real profit, that should be converted into cost. That is, we have to remove the profit loaded on the opening stock, profit loaded on the closing stock by creating stock reserves. So let us do that. For opening stock, which is at 120, we have to find out what is the profit that is loaded, which is nothing but 20, right? So what I'll do on credit side of P&L, I'll write by stock reserve, basically to remove the profit on opening stock, that is 30,000 divided by 120, because that is the wholesale price, multiplied by 20, because the difference between these two will give you the cost. So 30,000 by 120 multiplied by 20, that will give you exactly the profit. So 30,000 by 120 multiplied by 20 will give you 5,000, and please write this in HO column, don't take it to branch column, that is more important. Similarly, there is a closing stock on which there is a stock reserve. Okay, so to stock reserve, and what is the value? It is 78,000 divided by 120, okay, multiplied by 20. 78,000 divided by 120 multiplied by 20, write it only in the HO column, the value is 13,000. So in this way we have factored both the stocks. Okay, now we have to check whether there are any expenses. Yes, question says there are expenses at HO 10,000, branch 6,000. Let's capture that. Two expenses at HO level, it is 10,000. At branch level, it is 6,000. Okay, so now it's time for us to close. If you notice on credit side, the totals are higher. That is, for HO it is 78 plus 5, that is 83,000. and for branch it is 20,000, no other items. So since it is the highest, we'll write it both sides, 83,000 and 20,000. So now there is a difference. This difference have to be taken to P&L. For HO, the difference is 83,000 minus 10,000 minus 13,000. It works out to 60,000. And for branch, it is 20,000 minus 6,000. It works out to 14,000. So this we are going to take it to net profit. So we'll say to net profit 60,000 and 14,000.